DIY or Die, Walker Vapor Group LLC, or any of its associates do not condone nor encourage the use of nicotine, vapor products, or any mood-altering substances without the explicit consent of a physician. The content viewable on this channel is strictly for entertainment purposes only and not meant to be seen as informational or educational. Must be 21 years or older to view these materials.
Silky beat. What is up, mixers? Welcome back to another glorious episode of MIXINVIXENS. Help me introduce my co-host. Say hello to RinLux.
What's up, guys?
We've got the wonderful Leilani.
Hey now.
We've got Mr. Concrete River.
I can unmute. It's fine. Hi.
We've got Jen, the E-juiceFairy.
Hi, guys.
And we've got JJ, otherwise known as Jennifer Jarvis, the Flavor Pro.
Hello, everyone.
We've got Shindo,
known as the Flavor Bro. What's
the
up?
Flavor Bro. And then we've got Graham, who insists on hiding.
Known as the Flavor Ho.
Oh!
We rehearsed that. I'm sorry.
Wordplay.
I'll leave. I don't
Practice.
care. It's fine.
All kinds of practice.
How you guys doing?
We're doing all right.
Living the dream, mostly vaping mixes and about to pass arbitrary judgment on them. So
Yeah.
my day's going well.
I think my taste buds are dead at this point. And by taste buds, I mean nose.
Right. Why?
So, do we want to kick it off?
No,
Let's stay
I
in
want
this
to know
order.
why your taste buds are dead.
Me too.
Well,
You vape too much in a row?
you'll find out.
He's been huffing a lot of inhalants lately. He's gone back on kind of a retro spray paint thing.
Yeah, we decided to do a bunch of whippets before coming on the show.
Oh, nice.
Also
nice.
Memphis.
It's been a long time since I've done those.
Well, they're doing whippets and I'm doing poppers. I get ready for my night after this.
Getting ready for Vegas, right?
Yep.
We are sharing a hotel room. So,
Oh, God.
Ooh.
Never know what could happen.
So the thing about poppers is
I know where to get them.
somehow that's the least surprising thing you've ever said to me, Graham.
Well, it's because you always ask me.
It's some VHS head cleaner right there.
all right. So let's kick off the judging before we get any deeper into that.
Deeper into what?
Do you want to start with Leilani's?
Yes, sir.
Why you only gotta be me? Because I'm the brown one? Because I stick out?
Because Rick singled you out for judgment.
Oh, if we're going in shade order, then that means I'm second, right?
That's your, yep, yes you are. Light skin.
Is that what we're doing?
I'm just kidding.
Racist.
Well, I never planned on
Right.
following a career in politics, so fuck it. Jennifer once said you're second.
I'm calling the NAACP.
Just turn your white balance up.
All right, go ahead, go judge.
Okay, so I had one question.
No,
One really big question.
no question.
Okay. Can we get Leilani to talk about a recipe first? We're doing the however you say that word, coconut cobbler by Leilani.
Peachymon, just think about Pokemon.
Pokemon? Okay.
Pokemon coconut cobbler. Okay, what's up?
Did you want to walk us through your recipe first?
Okay, well, I wanted to make a cobbler with like desiccated coconut in it. And then I wanted to play with the persimmon because the persimmon to me tasted like peach versus like true persimmon flavor. And I thought that would complement the Armenia apricot and the juicy peach in my recipe. And then the biscuit jungle, or not, what do I have in here? The biscuit Capella is really nice because there's a strong coconut aroma and flavor to it. So you get it on the inhale and on the exhale. And then I added Inaware biscuit to add a little bit of the crunch, some of the croissant to add a little bit of butteriness and a little bit of doughiness. And then also added, let's see, a touch of sweetener because it was a little bit tart, the apricot and the juicy peach. And there's a little bit of a floral note also that comes along with the persimmon flavor, which I thought was kind of nice. And I really don't like florals like that. So that's my recipe. The end.
Okay. What the hell is persimmon?
What the hell is persimmon? You're a chef. You should know these things.
Gotta catch them all.
You mean persimmon?
I say persimmon.
What you add first?
Okay. I'm glad we're taking that liberty.
Just call me Wayne number 2.
some persimmon. Well, congrats on making the persimmon work for you here. So I really do like that flavor, and yeah, you're right. It has like a lot of peach to it, and I think it's a really smart choice here. It tends to get a little bit bright and harsh, but the way that you actually mixed it with the peach and the apricot, it calmed it down quite a bit. And I think it, like, tasting this, I wouldn't think that it's a persimmon. Like, it feels more just like a fleshed out peach flavor, but it's working really well here.
Yeah, it adds a whole nother layer of complexity to the peach, which is really nice because, you know, when you're about to vape anything that's peach, you're like, well, it's probably going to taste like everything else that's peach.
Mm-hmm.
It helps prevent that, and it works really nicely here.
Oh, cool.
Another thing that worked really nicely is the addition of coconut, and I hate to say it, but Cap Silverline biscuit is a hard coconut biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is, like, when you have a fruit bakery, right, you tend to have to go lighter on the fruits so you can really get the bakery. But when you have something like Cap Silverline biscuit, you get to use that in lieu of that. So you get more texture from the coconut, which can also help trick your mind into getting more texture, period. So that worked beautifully for me, at least. And Wonder Flavors croissant, which just adds a whole layer of buttery depth and tells you this is a bakery.
That's right. My croissant. Victory's mine.
Yeah. If it sounds like we are kissing ass this week, it's because this week was something special. Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff this week.
Wait, I'm waiting for the pain, Graham.
Always special.
No, I really liked the coconut here too, and I'm not the biggest fan of that Cap Silverline biscuit, but I think you did use it like in the place that it would shine, just like embracing that kind of coconutness that it has to it. I think I'd even go further than Kyle here. Like, it would have been like, honestly, I could deal with a little bit more coconut here, but I do like the coconut that is here, and I think it's used very well.
Okay. Good.
I didn't know that Hangson made a juicy peach flavor, and it was actually pretty good. So shout out to you for using that, because I had no idea it was the thing that existed, and I think I like it here.
I swear you just like go out and ask people what flavors they have and then just buy whatever they don't have.
Hey, that's exactly what I do, because I'm like, this could be good. I have no idea.
You're just like, where have I never seen this before? Let me get people to use it.
Exactly. That's exactly how it should be.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true. You're the Inaware blackberry raspberry finder.
I know you love that,
Yeah,
Graham.
that's on point.
Such a good flavor.
Fine. Definitely a good find.
Yeah, and just to like piggyback on what Kyle was saying, I do think the bakery thing comes through pretty clearly here. I feel like it's not super fruit forward. I definitely do get some bakery, but I do like the fact that for me, at least, it leads with that brighter fruit note. I think it really, like, because I mean, with a cobbler, like, I kind of want the fruit to poke through in the bakery to be the accent, and I feel like the balance here is good on that. I think it does that really well. I don't have as much experience with some of the Wonder Flavor stuff, but if the croissant is doing what I think it's doing here, I think the croissant was a really good choice. Where a biscuit, very familiar with that, seems to be working okay. And we've already talked about the Capella biscuit being like that good kind of dry coconut note that's just kind of helping the entire thing along.
Yeah, another takeaway from this is definitely the persimmon. Like, We've been using apricot, Armenia, whatever you want to call it, to bend peaches into a more bakery type of flavor forever. Persimmon works really well in that vein. So I think I'm going to steal that. Thank you.
Did you steal my secrets? You jerk. No, persimmon is this one. Persimmon, or mine is persimmon in my recipe. It's actually like a really good flavor. It's a little bit floral. It's really fruity, and it tastes like peach, but a different type of peach than any of the other peaches I've tried. You know, because it's not too of that like candy peach or that like overly juicy, watery peach. It's just something really nice, and I like it. So thank you guys. Wait, hold on, Graham. What negative things do you have to say?
I have nothing negative to say about it. I honestly don't. I mean, no, I don't.
Now that we're talking about the persimmon here, like when you're talking about describing it that way, what it kind of makes me think of, sort of in retrospect, is it's like a slightly more fleshed out version of like Flavor Art's white peach flavor.
Yeah.
Like it seems like that kind of like peachiness to it, which is really good, actually.
Oh,
kind of recontextualized persimmon for me, so that's cool.
I have to try that trick too. Thanks,
It's great. We're gonna have to get Dave to try it to tell if there's any throat hit, because I know that flavor destroys him.
Sissy throat.
Oh, no.
If it does, tell us.
Yeah, I was surprised no one went the rough road and tried to use Wonder Flavors peach pie and cream.
Because we know it doesn't work with other flavors.
Yeah, and there was a question in the chat, JF Biscuit being a better choice than Inawera. I think it, like, honestly, like, I'm not trying to be dismissive because I do like JF Biscuit, but I think at this kind of percentage, you're not going to see a real night and day difference. And the biscuit there is mostly there for, I'm guessing, like more of the buttery note than like a hard biscuit texture.
That's exactly what it's for. Just a little bit of butteriness and a little bit of crisp. It's that Inawera biscuit taste, you know, but just to boost it up because it's such a strong flavor. It's just backup.
Yeah, Inawera biscuit's easier to bend to because it's hard to describe. It's buttery and way more buttery than JF, and JF is a lot darker.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
Really?
A lot of people say the opposite, but
I say the opposite.
Yeah,
Inawera is darker to me.
I get more of a hard crumble from JF.
I also appreciate the use of sweetener in the recipe, just because like tasting this, I wouldn't guess there's any sweetener in it, but if you're saying it was coming off too tart without the sweetener, like you added just the right amount of sweetener to make it taste like it wasn't additionally sweetened, but still get what you want out of the recipe.
Yeah, the juicy peach, the Armenia, and the persimmon combined, they become a little bit tart, like your mouth puckers. And along with like the dry biscuit, you really do need that sweetener to kind of level out the citrus. I guess it would be like malic acid notes.
Yeah, like those tartar, brighter, kind of harsh notes.
Yeah, it's like my mouth started to stick together, and I was like, it needs something. Sweetener. But yeah, this is good. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, this is really, really good. Did a lot of things really, really well. So thank you for sending that too.
Gracias.
And
this is the most impressive thing that you've put on the show, I think.
Also,
I was only here for like a month before that, so thank you.
I also appreciate the art on the bottles. I know I said that, but it boggles my mind that you put art on the bottles as well. So no bonus points
that
for
with a
that, but it was
toothpick?
cool.
Get bonus points. Aw, thank you, Rin.
Also, is somebody in a wind tunnel? What's that sound going on?
It's my air conditioner. I'm sorry.
Okay. So are we gonna go for Winstead's recipe next then, and just pretend like that first part of the show didn't happen?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let me find it. No, that's Emily's. Oh, wait, there we go. Okay.
What?
I got it. So do you want to walk us through your recipe?
Sure. Hold on one second. I didn't really think you guys were really going to do that.
Yeah, it was probably a poor choice, but we're going with it now.
Yeah.
All right, fine. It is. I made the crumble. I mean the fairy butter cream top. Basically, it's the image for me was a cookie cake ice cream on top, kind of buttery nutty goodness. I use TFA graham cracker clear sweet dough for the bakery component. FA graham is a graham cracker cookie. I use that to enhance it. I build the ice cream out of FA vanilla ice cream and Cat vanilla V1. I use vanilla V1 because to me the ice creams I like are all buttery and soft and gushy, and that has sort of an eggy. In the percentage I used, the eggy note wasn't as much there as more of the cream note. FA maple syrup is the perfect maple, but you got to keep it really low so it doesn't overtake the recipe. And marzipan for my sweetener to enhance the not necessarily the nutty notes, but to kind of separate things. Pistachio because it's more of a realistic nut. Sweet dough brings in the gooey part of the cake. That's it. You guys tell me. I'm done. My recipe's up. My notes are there. Go for it.
Okay.
Break it down.
So for me at least, take this picture and add a thick smothering layer of buttercream frosting. And that's mostly what I get. And it's a really, really good buttercream. Like it is a complex buttercream frosting between the marzipan and the buttercream. The marzipan actually enhances the buttercream quite well into a very like waxy frosting finish with like a heavy fat note, for me at least. And the vanilla ice cream, I didn't get that much vanilla ice cream as much as I got just the pure vanilla note. And then the Cat Vanilla Custard definitely did a good job of thickening that syrup on top, which I liked a lot. All in all, the only thing is like I think the accuracy is a little off because of the buttercream frosting, and the bakery is quite light. It vapes more like a custard to me, but I don't care because it's freaking delicious. So
so I was more in the cream side. I tend to do that. I'm harsh on myself with the bakery part of things. I'm not a thick bakery person, so
yeah, I'm glad that you used FA pistachio. I think it's a really, really underrated flavor. I like that flavor a lot. And it doesn't necessarily taste like pistachios as much as it tastes like roasted nuts.
Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely not the kind of pistachio that's like pistachio that you would use in a cake. It's not the almond or the pistachio that's like in the pudding. It's not that at all. It's more of the nut part of the pistachio.
Yeah, and I think like piggybacking on what Kyle was saying about the whole bunch of buttercream, I think this does lean really, really heavily on the buttercream for me too. I think there's something about the vanilla note in Cap's vanilla custard that can taste a little plasticky to me in certain circumstances. And I think with some of the extra vanilla from the FA vanilla ice cream too, and then you have like the waxy buttercream and a little bit of extra wax from like the marzipan and stuff. Like if you're going for separation in the recipe, it definitely accomplishes the separation thing. I just feel like maybe with that much separation, it's balanced to be just a little bit top heavy. And like it is exactly what Kyle said. Like I think I would like a little bit more actual bakery here. The FA maple syrup I think is a really smart choice for the maple note, and I think it gets the point across. Flavora's sweet dough for me, I do get like a lot of that same kind of like maple note too. So between the sweet dough and the maple syrup and maybe even some of like the Flavora butterscotch, I'm getting a very clear maple that isn't offensively maple, which I appreciate quite a bit.
Yeah, the maple can be very overwhelming in recipes. So you have to, for me anyways, maple has to be balanced in a way that it's all you'll taste if you use it at certain percentages. I mean, if you don't mix it right, maple can it could have just lost everything and just been a maple syrup.
Yeah, maple also makes it really easy to get sick of.
Yeah. So did you get sick of my recipe?
By the way, guys, I do have Vape Train Golden Syrup. If anyone wanted to use it, I should have probably told you that. I'm sorry.
Is that like your passive aggressive, like less maple thing?
No. I'm just saying, like, Vape Train Golden Syrup is my cheat flavor. I'm a sucker for that.
Well,
It's so.
So was my recipe too sweet for you guys, or was it
No,
on the
no.
sweetness?
Not at all.
Yeah, it was definitely on the sweet side, but I didn't find it cloying. I think like that's the thing with maple and like flavor satiation, however you say that, that makes me sound not stupid. Like if you get that too much maple, too sweet or whatever, like this is something that you could burn out on really easily. But I did appreciate like the sweetness level not being like completely over the top and cloying, and that maple not being over the top and cloying. Like it adds to the vapeability of this recipe quite a bit.
Nice.
Yeah, I just really like the comprehensive like vanilla frosting. That's awesome to me. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and like not in a bad way at all, but like it does read a little bit more like this is a ball of very interesting, very like dark, expensive vanilla frosting, which is kind of a cool effect.
Cool. I'll use it as that then. Moving forward,
Throw some accents above your letters. You're good.
Yeah.
And just call it premium as fuck.
Premium.
Yeah. Make sure you put like a silent X in there as well.
Yeah.
Like Dragon Mouse X.
And then at the bottom says product contains nicotine and it can be addicting. If you vape it, you'll want more.
See, way to turn that on its head right there.
Yeah, people be vaping with their pinkies up.
Okay, so we ready to move on? Whose recipe we doing next? Because we didn't tell Friction. You gonna do Rin's recipe?
Sure.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Sorry, Friction.
Bad lux.
Clock at the
Am I
house.
talking now?
Clock at the house.
Yes, we would like you to run us through your recipe, Rin. If you would oblige us.
Well, I had to turn my air off so it didn't blast in the background. Pretty much I was trying to avoid using maple because number one, I didn't think I had any. I have maple bar, but I forgot about it. And I'm not a huge fan of maple, especially in vapes. So I tried to use a combination of the sweet dough and the butter pecan to kind of create a mapley essence without being too heavy on the maple. I also wanted to use sweet dough for a little bit of like body for the blondie or whatever, as well as the sugar cookie for that. Because like I've never had a blondie, or if I have, it's been a very long time. So I didn't really know what it was, but it seems that it's kind of a brown sugary, heavy brownie without cocoa in it. I don't know. So that's what I did. I went with butter pecan and a mixture of walnut for like the nut part of it. Plus I just really like one-on-one butter pecan. And then I used Love from from Vape Train because it's a really nice white chocolate that has like a cream note inherent in it. Because if you look at the profile picture, it's pretty intense, like how many things are in it. So I didn't want to get too muddled, so I just kind of used it as like a hybrid of both the cream and the white chocolate note. And that's it. I'm done.
What'd you just say? Is that a 10?
I've had
girl,
the cast
for the views, girl, that recipe. Clock at the house.
I want you to explain the outfit.
She's Rin Lux. There's no explaining. Look it up.
Yeah.
All right.
Look up Rich Lux on YouTube. RICHLUX. It would kind of explain a lot. If you don't watch them, then you probably won't get any of the references. But me and Leilani get it, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters, girl. I'm mad.
No tea, no shade.
I want to do Rich Lux so bad. I got a shark head. Now I want to do Rich. I want to do it all, girl. I'm saying, clock at the house.
So we've officially reached the costume stage of this show. Right?
That's exactly what it came down to, baby.
We're jumping the shark. Shit.
Back to Rin's recipe.
Anyway, let's hear it.
Are we done? We're good.
No shade.
No shade.
So I've had the whole panel on Fresh's show in my ear about some one-on-one butter pecan, and it seems it was pretty justified. It's a really good flavor.
Yeah, it is.
So I get like a really, really realistic nut note from this, and I think the sweet dough kind of brings it on that earthy side, and the walnut super concentrate kind of, for me, that flavor is like insanely realistic to the point where it tastes like uncooked walnuts, but it still works because sugar cookie tastes very cooked. So I really like this personally. What do you think, Rick?
Yeah, it came off maybe a little bit earthy for me, but I think like Shindo has this like irrational hatred of TPA's toasted marshmallow. I think sweet dough might be one of those things for me. I had this steeping for about a week because Leilani was nice enough to send me the butter pecan, so thank you very much. But it's one of those recipes that I feel like maybe needs another week worth of steeping. I'd probably shoot for about 2 weeks just because that sweet dough needs some time to calm down. I do really like the fact that the sweet dough is bringing like a non-overbearing maple flavor to the party. That's really cool, but like I am getting like a little bit of an earthier edge from the sweet dough along with the walnut, I'm guessing. That's making it maybe just come down a little bit earthy at like 1 week worth of steep. I do like the love in there quite a bit, which is nice. And I'm glad to hear like the white chocolate thing, because I think if you were using it for that kind of like white chocolate kind of component, I think it's a really, really good choice there. The one-on-one butter pecan I need to mess around with a little bit more, but it seems to be working really well. There's like a good butter pecan note in here. I think the butter pecan and the walnut note are kind of competing a little bit instead of like working with each other. So it's maybe just a little bit confusing. But again, I chalk that up to like maybe another week worth of steeping where I think that would actually come together quite a bit more.
Yeah. What I really like about this is it's a purebred bakery. Like you are going to get more texture and bakery goodness out of this than probably any of the recipes this week, as far as just pure bakeryness. Everything else is a hybrid. This is just pure, which is pretty awesome because we rarely see that these days. Yeah, I did want a little bit more butter in there, but I do know that you are Rin and you do not like butter. So
it depends. I don't like the butter note in Capella's custard.
Yeah. At the end of the day, though, we're two fat guys, and then Graham's not fat. So.
Like super, yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
We got an entire spectrum of obesity on the male side of the judging panel, so you gotta keep
rapid fatness. You ever seen that? Rapid like overnight, hurts.
Just gonna balloon up, like.
Yeah,
but you got us with the sugar cookie.
They ate that.
But yeah, overall, I liked it quite a bit. It was one of those things that I felt like it maybe needed a little bit more time to come together. And for the steep day, like for the recipe, having it be like a steep day for like 3 days, I'd probably just bump that up just because I feel like you've got a whole bunch of flavors that are going to need a little bit more time to kind of like mesh and calm down, because it's a really good core of a recipe. It just needs to kind of cohere a little bit more for me.
Cohere, okay.
Bryn is not bothered.
Never heard someone use that as a verb.
Cohere?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just coherence. That's the only way I've heard it used.
Hard.
No.
Coherent.
Nope, never heard that one either, Graham.
Nobody's ever said the word coherent in your presence, Graham.
You know.
The shade of it all.
The shade, girl, the shade.
You dress up in the outfit, there's going to be some shade, okay?
Next. Who's going next?
So I think we're going to do Jarvis's recipe next, correct?
Yep.
Correct. We pull it up really quick here. I really, really enjoyed this one, actually. I think part of that is because I'm a complete and total sucker for rhubarb. But would you walk us through the mix?
Alrighty. Our screen gets down here. Okay. I did one-on-one pie crust and Flavora pastry zest as the pie crust base that's supposed to be some sort of fruit pocket thingy. So I was trying to go for a little bit less pie crust and a little more like the flaky fila dough crust. And I feel like the pastry zest adds that little bit of a crunchy top to it. And And since it was kind of a, well, what is the red stuff in that fruit pocket? I went with rhubarb and a little bit of strawberry because rhubarb and strawberry just have to go together. And it was apple based. So I used a bit of Flavor apple filling, more for the spice than for the appleness, but a little bit of that cooked appleness with the pure country apple, which to me is like Macintosh apples. So that was just the apple base. And that was pretty much it. It was just pie crust wrapped fruit.
Okay, so you struck gold. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is honestly the best recipe I've had on the show.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie about it. It was insane. You know how like you have recipes that are yummy, you make good recipes, they're good enough to put out, and then you have something that feels like not only did you logically come to that conclusion and put a lot of hard work into it, but you also just got really lucky and struck gold.
I really just use my nose. I
Yeah.
sit here and sniff bottles until what I'm thinking of comes to light in front of me.
For the lives who can't stand, falls
Yeah,
or nose.
This recipe is insane.
Yeah, that actually makes sense to me.
I have a feeling that anyone would struggle to find anything wrong with it.
No, my favorite part of it, like I do like the fact that it's a little bit fruit forward. I don't know how other people who actually can taste like FA Red Touch and all that are really perceiving of it. For me, like I get like a nice clear like rhubarb apple flavor that's really good. That DV rhubarb cuddle, I really do like the Decadent Vapors rhubarb note, and it works so much better here than something like Inaware's rhubarb would. It's a much like deeper rhubarb. It isn't just as tart and as stringent. And then the like little bit of like custard or whatever that's supposed to be on the back end of rhubarb cuddle just kind of blends into the entire thing without adding like a distinct cream note.
Yeah, it's kind of the inside gooiness of the pastry crust.
Yeah.
I think if anyone vaped this without looking at the recipe, they would assume that there's sweetener in there because it is very sweet.
I did.
Absurdly sweet.
Yeah,
and
no sweetener.
No sweetener whatsoever, which is pretty awesome. And Rick and I actually both got this really interesting, like, I'm not going to say off note, but we got a note of like rolled chewy oats, which was fantastic, by the way, with the spiced apple.
It's something with between the rhubarb cuddle, the pie crust, and the pastry zest. I think that kind of blends into almost an oaty note in the actual mix. But when it's vaped, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But I smell it in the bottle. It's just not actually when it's vaped.
Yeah, I get it just a tiny, tiny smidge. And I can definitely taste it if I taste the juice, which it's really, really cool. Like if you could isolate that, you'd have a perfect oatmeal cookie.
I'm going to have to play with what I used there and see what it was that did it.
Yeah. And I feel like just like there's that theory of all green fruits, right, Emily? There's also all red fruits.
Yep.
So as somebody who can taste strawberry, how much strawberry do you get out of it, Kyle?
Not much actually. I feel like it functions more as sweetener.
It's supposed to be more the gooey syrupy layer with the cooked rhubarb, because rhubarb and strawberry share a similar taste palette when you're actually eating cooked fruit, especially when they're blended together. You can't really tell where the strawberry ends and the rhubarb begins.
Yeah, I've never had a rhubarb pie that doesn't have strawberry.
Yeah, they're such complementary flavors. You shouldn't get a ton of strawberry. It should be more rhubarb heavy with the apple.
Right. And Perulian country apple and Flavora apple filling. You can literally never go wrong with those two.
No, they make the perfect pie filling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just the amount of spice that you're getting from that Flavora apple filling, like if you're going back to like that kind of like rolled oats, no, like it's just a little tiny bit of cinnamon to it, and it's absolutely right at the right place.
Yeah, I would say this recipe and Rick's Deer Lodge actually are probably two of my favorite recipes this year.
So, thank you.
Stellar job.
Well, I mean, you have shit taste for the Deer Lodge thing, but that's fine. It's a good recipe. This one's a good recipe.
Graham, have any opinions?
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All three of us, like, immediately. We actually didn't even talk about it. And then when we came together today, we both just, all three of us were like, yeah. It was ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I think if you did like want to get like super nitpicky, I think it is definitely a little bit fruit forward. I think it works for the profile. Honestly, there are some people who would be like, I want my bakeries to be super bakery-ish. So yeah, maybe if you aren't looking for like a fruit forward bakery, this might not be your cup of tea. But in terms of what is actually here, I think it's delicious.
Yeah, it's really hard to nitpick anything with it. You might be able to get more body out of it, but I don't even give a shit. It's delicious.
If you wanted to add a little bit more crusty note to it, it would be Vape Train biscuit base, because it's got a bit of that spice note to it, and it'll blend with the apple filling. So you would get a little bit more of a cookie note to it with the mixed in with the pastry, so you'll get more pie crust taste.
Well, I would add to it, but it's all gone. So. I'm gonna have
to order some that entire 30.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to order some rhubarb cuddle.
I think they still have it on Chefs. Hopefully, I think that's one of the ones they carry on Chefs.
You could also, if you can't get rhubarb cuddle, get their plain rhubarb and add equal parts of the rhubarb and their cream anglaise together. I believe that is what the rhubarb cuddle is.
Okay.
So it should work in pretty much the same way.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about Inaware rhubarb, Rick, and why this is a much better alternative for bakeries?
Oh yeah, no, I mean we already touched on it. Like the Inaware rhubarb is like super bright, and I like it, but it doesn't do baked rhubarb very well. This might, like, I don't want to bust apart this recipe because it's a very good recipe, but this also seems like you could maybe make something like Vape Train's rhubarb compote work, just because it's another one of those like more cooked rhubarb flavors. You don't want the tart astringency of Inaware rhubarb. It's not the right rhubarb here, but rhubarb cuddle might be kind of workable. Rhubarb compote. Lots of rhubarbs too.
If I had that one, I might have tried it. I don't have that one yet.
Yeah, it's actually, it's pretty good. It's another good like bakery rhubarb option.
That's good to know, because I'm always looking. I didn't like Inaware's rhubarb. It was too floral for me. So I like that this doesn't have that weird astringent floral note, and both the rhubarb and the rhubarb cuddle are probably the best rhubarbs I've had. If VTA's compote one is the same or similar, that would be a definite one you could probably sub out with.
Yeah, Inaware rhubarb's like the Inaware raspberry of rhubarb.
Don't you talk bad about Inaware rhubarb. It's just not a good bakery rhubarb.
Well, I love Inaware raspberry. So.
It's always overpowered stuff for me. So it's one of those things where it's like one drop in a 30 ml and it's like, oh my God, that's all I taste. It's laundry soap.
You can't do anything.
Those are so fun to work with, though.
Like, honestly, my favorite Inaware, God, I can't talk to him. My favorite Inaware rhubarb mix is just mixing with something dumb like 3.5-4% of like FA raspberry and calling it a day. But
that's so much raspberry.
It's a lot of raspberry, yeah.
Well, you need that much to kind of even get close to the rhubarb.
You're just blowing the taste buds out of the back of your head with it, but it's an interesting flavor combination.
Just floral overload, and you just can't taste anything.
Hey, just give up. Throw some WS-23 in it and a whole bunch of sweetener and call it a real shit juice and just be done with it.
My favorite part
Time to
about
go to
the
Emily's
show,
now.
We got Leilani sent all of us all of her mixes.
Yeah.
While she decided to pick and choose which one she wanted.
I already knew which one I wanted to do. Y'all were playing with me.
And we were just messing with her the whole time.
Yes, you were.
That's
I was like,
funny.
what the mess should I? I'm like, I know what I like. I know what I like.
She's like, I want this one. And we're like, interesting.
You guys are mean.
We never claimed to not be mean.
Poor Leilani.
I'm still growing. I'm still learning. And you guys tease me. Why do you do this to me?
We're terrible people. Emily.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to walk us through your recipe?
Sure. I submitted a peach cobbler. And basically, for my peach layer, I use Flavora Peach as like the main peach note because it's a really good like canned peaches vibe. And then I supplemented it with a little bit of Flavora Apricot because I get Flavora Apricot kind of gives it like a baked note to me. Like it kind of helps it bring it down a little bit. And then to complement that and bring up some brightness and some authenticity, I use TFA nectarine. So that was my peach layer. And then my crumble or the cobbler part, I did flavor art apple pie, Indaware biscuit, and then TPA brown sugar to kind of make it darker and buttery and good.
Yeah. I really like that you didn't go too high with the brown sugar. It works perfectly here. Yeah, and the apricot, the Flavora apricot, for me, it definitely adds a level of tartness, which also adds a level of authenticity.
I mean, are you talking about the nectarine or the apricot being the tart one?
The apricot, actually. Nectarine is tart to the point of throat destroying, but the apricot definitely has some tartness to it.
Yeah, I again, I kind of like this one just because like it was fruit flavored, and I liked the attention that you were paying to the fruit note. I know that like everybody likes to stack bakeries and creams and all that other stuff, but like a lot of where my heart lies is actually like building up fruit notes from the ground up. And so I really liked all the components of the peach note here. The Flavora peach maybe goes a little tiny bit candied, but I think it makes the recipe more appealing. I think you're kind of sacrificing a little bit of like quote unquote realism for actual vapability, which I enjoy quite a bit. The nectarine, we were talking about it before the show. I didn't want to give in to Graham's nonsense about TPA nectarine, but here we are. I liked it.
I know. It took me so long to finally get that just because Graham said it's good. I'm like, no, I resisted.
Hey, to be fair, I told Graham it's good, so
Yeah,
come on.
Well, I hate you too. So
No.
I said
Nectarine's awesome.
it is.
You did
It's
tell me
just,
about nectarine.
Yeah, and apple pie is also an awesome crust flavor, so it works really well in a cobbler for sure, because it's supposed to kind of be like that pie crust, right? So it's got that kind of buttery pâte sucrée type thing going on, which works.
Oh, look at you with your French words.
Oh, fuck off with your snapback and your mustache.
It's not a snapback, it's a fitted, first off. And secondly, you wish you could rock a mustache like this.
I feel like there's two people in costumes on this show.
The shade.
Yeah.
Who would willingly dress up like that? Like
Well,
this?
one's
Like,
Rich Lux and the other's clearly a hockey fan.
Early.
Haters.
I'm not even cool enough to like hockey, man. I'm stuck on football like some sort of tard. It's all good.
Arena
Right.
football.
Don't lie, you're actually into professional curling.
Oh, professional wrestling too. It's a big thing for me.
That joke.
But yeah, overall,
How much I loved it, but then you just had to throw that nectarine crap at me, so I liked it. That kind of. I had a whole thing planned, but then you were like, I resisted.
It was
So-
all right.
It was all right. It wasn't bad.
I should listen to you more often, Graham, because you know you haven't steered me wrong yet on flavors.
I just because I can't put the goddamn words together like these two with these 7-hour-long descriptions. But I know what I'm talking about.
So you're saying you shouldn't resist Graham. That doesn't sound like great advice.
No, you should. It's not wise.
I specified on flavors if you
No.
noticed that.
Everything's got a flavor.
Moving on.
so the bakery base that I do get here, I get a little bit of a spice note from Flavora apricot. Like it's not as strong as like the apple filling, but it kind of tastes like fairly baked to me, and that actually comes through in this pretty clearly, I want to say, which it works really well. It feels like a good like level of like warm cobbler spice without being like, hey, here's a fuck ton of cinnamon dumped on top, which is cool.
Yeah, that's if I'm not like a cinnamon like person. So if I want spice in something, I'll either use apple pie or like Flavora apple pudding. Every now and then I'll do Flavora eggnog, but like I try to use concentrates that are a little bit spicy but aren't like them, too much in your food.
Yeah, because spice leads to fatigue if you have too much, very, very quickly.
You're not a cinnamon girl.
Nope. I'm a baker girl.
And then like there's a good amount of like butteriness here for me. just with the apple pie and the biscuit, I think that works out pretty well. Like for actually like sticking the cobbler together, I think it gives you enough to pull off a cobbler, which is good. And the sweetener level, I wouldn't have guessed this had 1% sweetener in it before I tasted it, so it's sweetened very, very well.
Yeah, tremendous job all around.
Thank you.
I need to use my Flavora apricot. I've got like a full bottle of it almost.
No, it's super tasty. It's one of those things I don't really think about on a regular basis, but it's super tasty.
Yeah, I only used it for a short stint working on the Rickening.
It didn't end up in the final recipe unless I'm just imagining things, right?
No.
Okay. Didn't go with the carpet cleaner, blueberry, and all the Yakima hops. But yeah, it was a really strong round this time, actually, and we probably already spoiled it. Well, Kyle spoiled it. He spoils everything because he's terrible. But our winner for this round was probably Jarvis's recipe, but everything else was really good too. So
yeah, this is the best week so far.
Oh, no, I wasn't muted. Okay.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
We just want to appreciate Jarvis's expert rhubarb mixing skills along with the freaky butt plug thing. That's
my massive tip. Thank you.
What in the world?
What a mess.
And when you say just the tip with that one, you're going to feel it. That's all I'm saying.
That's not, yeah, that is just the tip, like nothing else.
Yeah. It's massive, but it makes what I've been vaping on was a dragon fruit based flavor with some strawberry in it, and it just expands the dragon fruit note so much that it's really nice. I can't go back to my other trip tip.
Put it up to your mouth.
Not kidding. I've been walking around with mine. I've been walking around with mine as well. I just don't have it today because I went to a show yesterday and everything. I left my bags in the car, but that thing has awesome flavor. I was like, damn, I need another one like this that doesn't exactly look like this so I can go to work with it.
Yeah, I've already put that request in too.
Jen, put it up to your lips.
I bet you got lots of comments on it.
So we can look at on a probo.
Yeah, it's not the only thing it expands.
Ready? Okay, get
oh, snap.
What kind of AV effect is that? No, but I was saying that like the butt plug drip tip has given me some drip tip envy because you sent me a very nice drip tip that's huge, but not comically huge. So
it was usually huge.
Well, Jen Jarvis, do you have any well, you know, I had this up. I thought I would win, but
I didn't expect that one to actually win because I knew what you guys had for recipes. So
what would you like to say, Jen Jarvis, to your winning recipe?
Thank you to my testers who actually vaped it.
Who are your testers?
Because I could not.
I just want to imagine that you get your testers and you have them get kicked in the head by a donkey to get their palate levels down to where we operate.
Well, my daughter's actually quite sensitive. She's not quite as sensitive as me, and she can vape more things because she's not as allergic. And her boyfriend, he's pretty sensitive as well, but they both seem to be a little bit more average. So I've been using them as my testers. And they loved the rhubarb one. It was like, oh, that's what I'm going with.
You're just like, here, huff some gasoline and then try this because that's about the level that you're dealing with here.
You guys don't give yourself enough credit. Come on, you put out some serious content on your flavors. So I mean, you guys do have. I mean, we do appreciate you guys coming on and critiquing our recipes and telling us. You know, it's not necessarily bad critique. Most of the time, I find that you guys are positively speaking, even if it's just so we can go back and tweak it for our own because the way we taste it might not be the way the average vapor tastes it.
Yeah,
Especially with our
we're just
sensitivity.
terrified of you. We're just terrified of all of you.
Well, and also we may have decent palates, but we really like to huff gasoline and spray paint, so that does
And
interfere.
whippets.
Yeah, whippets.
You guys are crazy.
Yeah. Earlier, Rick was just like pouring the juice on his mustache and going flavor saver, and then snorting as much as he
Just
could.
rubbing it in.
Y'all are a mess.
You guys are ridiculous.
So weird. You won't keep a shirt on ever.
Yeah, he only wears a shirt when he's on the show. I swear.
Weird.
So in your private chats, he's shirtless.
All the way shirtless.
But usually pantsless too. It gets kind of erotic. They actually have to tell me to turn my camera off.
No, one time he was wearing a shirt that just had a picture of his chest on it, and then he tore that off as well.
Like Hulk Hogan.
Where was I when this was happening?
Yeah, we want to see some of this action.
In a better place.
I'm a big fan of crop tops in general too, so that gets a little bit problematic. That's why the camera stays up here.
Well, I mean, with that C cup, it can't get any better.
Come on, it's just a generous B. Give me some credit.
Well, yeah, the cup gets around the back.
Yeah, around the back, you're talking about the size of a truck tire. Like,
It's like a 62C. It's always
See what happens when the boys come on, chat? Get them out of here. We know who won already. Bye. Get out. No.
jeez. Okay.
Can someone ground him?
Yeah, seriously.
Grounded.
I don't know. This was a really good round, and I'm looking forward to the next round. So, what kind of flavors are you guys tackling in the next month?
Who knows? I mean, we'll have those up as it goes, but I mean, whatever it is, we have to work on them.
We can talk about next week's, can't we? Has it been up already?
I don't think it's up, but we can talk about
All
it.
right, we can talk about it. It's a cotton candy ice cream.
Well, it's an ice cream, not necessarily cotton candy.
You're right. It's a
Well, it's pink and blue and white, and you know.
there. Oh, look, James is on it. He's showing the picture.
I like that.
Oh, is he?
I interpreted this as like a fiberglass ice cream.
There you go.
Fiberglass. You know, we should all turn the recipe one
What's
time.
flavor with the fiberglass?
Could be with
I'm surprised no one's done like a joke recipe with like 20% ethyl maltol just to fuck us over.
We would never
It's
do
like a
that.
mystery. It's like a mystery ice cream, right?
Go to your room. You're in timeout.
Oh yeah,
What
Dylan's
happens
my
when
life
they're
now.
all done? Chaos.
Yeah, it could be a bubblegum ice cream. I do like the idea of a cotton candy ice cream because I just have nightmare visions of way too much ethyl maltol and way too much TPAV big. So somebody make that happen.
Oh, it's gonna happen. Yeah, I'm taking that 20% EM tip seriously.
I just want butter and fiberglass and black pepper.
You got it, bud.
Got it.
It looks
Yeah.
like it's going to be unicorn poop.
You'll be hearing from my mesothelioma lawyer soon.
That's so silly. My diabetes. My diabetes testing supplies.
So people in chat, you see this profile picture? We're going to post it on MIXINVIXENS probably tomorrow. And if you have any ideas or have any recipes you have in mind, post them once we do. And it'd be really interesting to try because we're trying more recipes. I know we did it like 2 weeks ago, and that was a lot of fun. I actually made somebody's recipe last week. It was one of the members, her name was Robin. It was just 8% forest fruit and 2% fresh cream. And I was like, how is this going to be? I have no idea. It was actually really awesome. So I'm very interested in trying everybody's recipes. So this is really cool. Especially if y'all make that, I'll be interested in trying it.
8% forest fruit. Let me guess. You said, what the mess?
I said, what the mess? 8% forest fruit. How's this going to work? And people were in the comments and her comments in the recipe, like I bumped it down to 5%. Da-da-da. I said, oh, heck no. If she said it's good like this, let's try it like this.
How much
I
sweet?
did it, and it was delicious. Just
Atta girl.
flavors.
It's 10% sweet.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, get it, girl.
Get it, girl.
That
So if anybody can submit a recipe like a get it girl, like Leilani, try this. Rin, try this. I'm ready as long as I got it in my. You know.
I mean, why not?
What was
There
it?
was
What was it again?
8% forest fruit and 3% fresh cream. I mean, I make forest fruit at 8% with 2% cactus, and I thought there's no way this will work.
Go
No
on
way.
ELR and look up that Bonnie or whatever clone. It's like 10% forest fruit and it's like 15% forest fruit and 10% sucralose.
Well, because I think the sucralose like mutes it enough to be okay. Because when I use forest fruit, I'm using it like 1.5%, 2%.
I'm telling you, there's one called Cactus Tropical, and it's out there on ELR. And when I saw it, I thought, there's no damn way. And so I was like, I'm going to mix this just because there's no way this is going to be any good. And I put it together, and shit, if I didn't put that in I baked the entire 30 mil. And let me tell you, if I made it in a 30 mil, because I had no hope for it. Because I usually make 50 and hundreds because I just hate math. So I don't use my calculator. I use 50 mil bottles, 100 mil bottles. I know exactly how much to put in.
Yeah, it's 8% forest fruit and 2% fresh cream. I don't know if can I share screens?
I can see that.
No.
Or will everything mess up?
For our deaf viewers.
Oh, then I'm not going to do it. But yeah, her name's Robin. 8% forest fruit and 2% fresh cream, and that's it. And after 3 days, that thing was bomb off.
That's one of those kind of recipes you don't necessarily need to show.
No, I know. Shut up, Concrete. I want to do show and tell.
Yeah, that's Concrete, asshole.
Dang.
Oh, that's good advice. Let's all shut up, Concrete.
Oh, so you're talking to you yourself and your other personality? Let's all shut up, Concrete.
Yeah, there we go.
You're never alone when you're schizophrenic.
That's true.
You know what I wanted to ask, since I'm half sloshed right now? Last week, we asked, Jen had asked us all what our number one, pet peeve was. Boys, what's your number one pet peeve?
Rick.
I just want to know.
No, I mean, he was saying that his number one pet peeve is me.
Oh, well, damn.
We kind of all hate each other in a circle.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't have any super small things that irritate me on a regular basis.
Yeah, everything's huge.
You seem like a pretty chill dude that not much gets you.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I mean, I get worked up mostly when if we're talking about my number one pet peeve in mixing, it's probably Cap Vanilla Custard, but I've learned to appreciate it slowly.
Forced upon you so many times. I'd have to say marshmallow a year ago.
Okay, this is a whole
people have been toning that down, which is nice.
They
used to put it in everything.
Mine's cake batter.
How's that your pet peeve? That shit's delicious.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Especially when it's mixed with cereal.
It's so good.
I'm just kidding. I love it.
I think my real life pet peeve would be when I let things get disorganized to the point where I just have to get up and walk away. I do that to myself on a fairly regular basis, especially in having a ton of little tiny fucking bottles and stuff. The thing that irritates me the most is probably my own behavior when it comes to a lack of organization. That drives me up a fucking wall.
My pet peeve is that thing in the back of behind you, that doll or whatever that is that irritates the hell out of me every time I see it. I just stare at it every day, all day.
What is that?
It terrifies me, whatever it is.
It's a Sculpey clay figure of the Flatwoods Monster or the Allegheny County Monster, depending on which thing you want to. It's like a UFO story from the '60s where this weird half rocket alien thing showed up.
I don't like you and your local folklore. I don't like it at all.
I don't like myself either, so we're cool.
I don't understand it, and that scares me.
I wish you would stop it.
It's his voodoo doll. He pokes it
Scares
when
me.
you're not looking, Graham.
Well, it's like every time I look away from his nipples, I see that doll.
It's my voodoo doll of Graham because that's what I assume Graham looks like because his camera's never on.
That's true.
There you go.
Well, if you saw what I was doing when you had your shirt off, you don't want my camera on. Trust me.
He was mixing, of course.
Yeah.
Coming to the end of the show. So what do we want to close off with?
Well, I want to thank Bull City Vapors
Close
or
off.
Bull City BCF for helping us with our flavorings and ECX and the boys for coming on. And everybody that's watching, man. I mean, we have 72 people watching us right now. I mean, this show we wouldn't be as motivated to keep on doing this if it wasn't because you guys show up every single week. You guys hit like, you guys subscribe, you guys are helping us get to 1,000 viewers. It's just awesome. Thank you.
You know, we really need to put an emphasis on Bull City. Bull City and E-cig Express both are really helping us out a lot. Really, really helping us out. So hook them up. Whatever.
Mm-hmm. So thank you everybody for joining in. Thank you for, and if you're new, there's a subscribe button below.
Hit it.
A like button below. So if you haven't liked
Super
and
chat.
subscribed,
Like start
Graham.
right there at the bottom.
You know what else I heard? I heard that women in vaping that vape, it's only 25% of the vaping population. It was in the survey thing. I think it's more than that. I think just not as many participated. So I'm glad that we're putting this together for the girls out there so they know that we're here. We're part of that 25%.
And thank you for Leilani for joining us.
Thank you, Leilani.
We'll
We're going to miss
you.
you.
Yes, we're gonna
Miss you so much. Love you so much.
I love you so much. I love you so much. I love all of you so much.
Peace out, Girl Scout.
I have to go back to school.
You've been
Do
awesome.
you know what it's like to go to school every day for the rest of your life?
Yeah, no.
I'm not allowed to go near schools, so that's
On a
sympathizing.
bus, on an ice cream truck.
Well, then I'm
I actually delivered ice cream for a while. It got super awkward. Yeah.
You can't bring it into your car, dude. Especially with that music playing.
But yeah, thank you guys for having me. It was fun. I learned a lot as usual. All of you guys, thank you for judging my recipe. I'm just getting stronger and stronger. And eventually, Jen Jarvis, you hear me?
She's coming out.
And TheJuiceFairy. And I'm like, I'm gonna beat all of you one day. You hear me? It's not over. This game ain't over.
And we want you back. When you come back, you can try again, honey.
I will, and I'll be victorious. I swear to God.
You're coming for that crown.
Right?
I'm clocking that crown right now.
You're gonna come up and snatch a chain. It's gonna be
I'm
awesome.
gonna snatch that crown right off y'all heads. I swear to
Maybe we
goodness.
need a literal crown.
I'm just gonna put the
I'm
hands
gonna
on
get on
you.
that.
snatch your flavors. I'm gonna snatch your crown. I'm
That's
gonna
what you
snatch
can bedazzle, Rick. Bedazzle us a crown.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go.
And we can just ship it to each other.
With some low grade garnets. Let's do this.
Yes.
Wait,
Yeah.
what just happened? What did you just say? You bedazzle?
Yes,
never-
Rick bedazzles now.
Well, this was the costume episode, so the next one's the body paint one, right, Rick?
Yeah, no, it's gonna be super fun. Shindo and I are gonna be horrifying, and Graham will still have his camera off. It'll be fun. Everybody look forward to the next judging episode in 5 weeks.
I must keep my camera off.
Just 5
Right.
short weeks.
Yep, you love it. You look forward to coming on.
Dread coming on here?
Tomorrow
Question.
we're gonna get
They
together.
love
You
it.
guys did it?
Like a fresh day.
No, I love social interaction. Clearly.
Every week you do it.
I know, like nonstop.
I don't know. I think it's cool that you guys started working in the interview show once a month too. I think that's really cool. So, and just as a side bonus, it gives us an extra week to get our shit together, which is nice.
And my psychiatrist said it's good
Isn't
for me.
enough?
What's that?
5 weeks isn't good enough. You should be mixing all of our recipes every week.
That wasn't part of the contract.
Yeah, that was-
We don't have a written contract.
Well, all right.
All right, guys. Everybody have a good day.
It's been real.
Bye.
Bye.